leading transformation and disruptive evolution in the omnichannel retail space. So that's the whole idea of the presentation. But I would say to be a bit more specific around that, the questions we have asked ourselves were, how do we integrate sustainability at the core of our model? So that's the first key point for us. And the second one is how to operate such a transformation. So I will cover a few topics and a few items with you today. First one is to give you some context on the company, on I would say the ideas behind the actions we have delivered. Second point is the purpose of it, why we have done such a move, and the objectives we gave ourselves in terms of transformation. The third point is around the methods themselves, how have we developed our own transformation. And the fourth point will be about consequences, and especially the consequences on the supply chain parts, the logistics and transportation activities. So let's talk about the context. We are at Fnac Darty, one of the leader in Europe around, I would say, operating an omnichannel retail platform. It means approximately 8 billion in terms of revenues. We are 25 people at Fnac Darty. We have mostly two brands, Fnac and Darty, that are, I would say, quite iconic in Europe and especially in France. We retail on a couple of product categories such as cultural goods, white goods, and technical products. What we call technical products it means the consumer electronics products. We operate approximately 1,000 stores in Europe in 13 countries, and we are, I would say, at least in France, number one in terms of market share on almost all of our product categories. Let's say that we have a long history because Fnac and Darty were created in the 1950s, 93, 96. So it's more than 50 years old for the two companies, the two brands. And it happens that we have developed over time a couple of strong assets that, we have used and leveraged in the past decade to, I would say, develop an omnichannel strategy. The first asset we've got is obviously the store network. I mentioned the fact that we have approximately 100,000 stores with, I would say, a multi-format approach, both our own stores and franchisees also in the network. It leads to, I would say, to have a geographical impact that covers almost 100% of the population, at least in France. And we are also present massively in Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, and Iberia, Spain and Portugal. Second asset we have developed over time is a leading after-sales service. We are we are the first player in France in terms of after-sales, everything combined. It's almost 3,000 people working in this department, so doing basically repairing products. That's one of, I would say, probably the most important force strengths we've got within the group. Third asset we have developed over time is a centralized logistics network with warehouses on one side and our own home delivery platform for bulky products with a lot of services and new services offered to the consumers. The fourth asset is the customer base, a very loyal customer base, thanks to a loyalty program, very well-known, especially at Fnac, very well-known program that I would say brings us a vast part of our revenues. And the fifth asset is about our brands, Fnac and Darty, as very well-known in France and in the countries where we operate, but also with a strong values behind the brands. You will see later why I focus. I take some time to explain you our values and our assets because it's a key in the transformation we have been performing. Our new frontier, our new strategic plan is about a plan named Everyday, and the whole idea is to be and to become a responsible, digitized retailer, delivering high value and durable services. So that's one sentence, but what it means behind that, it's what does it mean? It means we built this plan on 4 strong ideas regarding the future of retail. The first one is this idea that we are heading to a unified retail. The fact to build seamless customer journeys, to develop, I would say, cross services, starting online, finishing offline, and so on and so forth. Just to give you, for instance, we have developed the service of, I would say, remote sales through salespeople in the store. It means that you are on darty.com or fnac.com, and if you have questions around the product, you can by clicking on the button, you can be transferred in a video or by call or by chat to salespeople in the store, and it's you have access directly from your home to the salespeople, the one that are the most competent, the most skilled, and able to give you a real advice on the products you want to buy. Second idea is the fact that that customers are looking for a smooth and personalized relationship with the brands. That leads to major transformation in terms of customer relationship management. The third point, which is, I think, the most important one, is that we have the belief that consumers are increasingly driven by environmental concern. It may seem as something obvious, but let's keep in mind that the development of the environmental concern amongst our customers, it began let's say 3 or 4 years ago maximum. So it's very new. It's not so, I would say, so spread or understood, or let's say among customers. It's still a part of our customers, not all of them, but we have the belief that this feeling, these expectations, those expectations are going to increase amongst our consumers, and we have to take that into account. And the fourth one is the belief that we think that a business model around subscription-based services is appealing to retailers and appealing to consumers. So the development of services, especially subscription-based services, are a key of our future. On that, we build, I would say, a 3 layers strategic plan with 3 elements. First one is the fact to push the ball forward in terms of development of an omnichannel retail. I think we have done a lot of things in the past couple of years. We have developed new services. I mentioned one just earlier. But that's the point. We want to push our advantage far away and to develop new services, new efficiency also in terms of operating a retail company. That's the first pillar. The second and the third pillars are the one I'm going to focus on. The second one is to lead the development of those sustainable and durable behaviors among customers, and I will explain to you how we want to do it. And the third point, the third pillar, is the development of I would say subscription-based services around, let's say, the in-home service and especially assistance. So let's elaborate a bit around those issues. The first idea behind that is the development of our concept around what we named educated choice. What we want to do is to develop tools, insights, I would say everything on information given to the customers to be a better customer, if you want. It means to buy the right product and so on and so forth. So what does it mean? It means that it happens that we repair, for example, all the products we sell, because we are a retailer, but also a repair company. So we know the products that are the most reliable and the ones that are a bit less reliable and then therefore sustainable. So what we decided is to publish this information and to say to our customers, if you, that's your choice, but what we can say to you is that this, a dishwasher, for example, is probably better because it's far more reliable than the other one, and that's a huge change for our customers. So what we have been doing is to develop those insights, for example, by publishing barometers comparing the brands and also the products. We have developed our own label in terms of identification of the most reliable products, and so on and so forth. What we have done also is to develop our own subscription-based service around repair service, and that's Darty Max. And we have developed also, in the same idea, the comparison between the home delivery solutions for the customers in terms of carbon impact. So it means that when you buy today at Fnac.com or Darty.com, at one point you will be asked to choose your home delivery solution, and you will have a comparison in terms of the date, when are we able to deliver to you the product, in terms of cost, what does it cost for you, but also in terms of carbon impact. So therefore, as a customer, you have all the information to choose the right home delivery solution for you. So that's the idea, it's really to give information to the customers to help them to better choose. And that's the whole idea. And it led to, for example, to something very specific and very new. We gave ourselves an objective in terms of repair development. So we have the objective to have 2.5 million products repaired at Fnac Darty in 2025. Last year it was 2.1 million products. And we built, I would say, a sustainability score with the basis between being in 2018, it was a base 100, and to be able to go to 135 in 2025. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Sorry, it means that in 2025, let's say that the products will be 35% more reliable for the customers compared to 2018. The whole idea behind this index is to increase the lifetime of the products we sell. When we decided a couple of years ago to move forward on this sustainability issue, we understood that the main impact we have in terms of carbon at Fnac Darty was not the fact that we've got warehouses or stores, or that we travel, or that the products travel from Asia to Europe by boat or by plane. The main impact we have is the products themselves. It means, and I mean 90% of our impact is related to manufacturing the products, and I will say the usage of the products by the customers. So if we want to have an impact as Fnac Darty and to have a real impact, the only solution for us was to cope with this product issue. The best way we found to, let's say, to reduce our impact, therefore, was to work a lot around increasing the lifetime of the product we sell. And that's the whole key of our strategic development. How do you proceed to do such a thing? First one, you sell more reliable products. That's something I just described. The products, when you sell them, you have to help customers to better use the products, because let's say 45% of the repairs of the product's failures are linked with, let's say, improper usage and maintenance by the customers. So we have to help customers to better use their products. That's the second point. The third point is obviously to repair more, and thanks to our Darty Max service, which is an unlimited repair service, we have increased by, let's say, almost 20% the number of repairs we have done in 2021 compared to previous year. The fourth point is when the product is not wanted anymore by the customer, we buy back the products, we refurbish them, and we resell the product in the second life market. And the last point is the development of a recycling activity. If the product is down, is not usable anymore, we develop a recycling approach so that the whole chain is linked and is, I would say, is worked around this idea of increasing the lifetime of the product. That's the key idea. As far as Darty Max is concerned, so it's, as I mentioned, it's an unlimited repair service. It's huge for us. It's a development of a huge customer base. We have the intention to come or to reach 2 million subscribers in 2025, and that's we are following our path and our plan just to reach such a figure. It means that it allows us to develop a new type of relationship with customers, because those customers are subscribers. So it means that we are in contact with them all the time. It's a new way of performing customer relationship, and it's important to understand that it's not only that each month the fact that each month those customers are paying to us a couple of euros. It's also that we deliver, I would say, a permanent and significant service to them over time. What we achieved is it's the figures of last year, so it's 1 year ago. We reached 500,000 subscribers for Darty Max, more than 4 million products already covered by this unlimited repair service. We developed significantly the product durability. It means that the products we sell are more reliable today than they were 4 or 5 years ago. But by doing so, we developed a business with a more frequent customer base. So that's a very positive, I would say, impact. The average basket is increasing, and that's good for us, obviously. And a high level of satisfaction. We reached, let's say, around 75 in terms of NPS in our repair activity. So that's the idea. What I suggest and what I'm going to do is to give you a couple of insights also on the way we have performed this transformation. The first, let's use a couple of keywords. The first point is assets. I mentioned assets earlier because it's very important in our, at least for us, to leverage the assets. We have developed over time strong assets, strong strengths, and you have to build on that. It's very difficult to go to a new territory, to a new area with, I would say, strengths that you don't have. It's to go to a new territory, to do some business development, you have to leverage something you've got. If you have to develop new strengths to develop a new area, our vision is that it's too complex for players as Fnac Darty. What we prefer to do is to use differently our strengths, to leverage them in a new development. For example, we have been performing and operating a repair service for 50 years, almost, in a specific way, and we develop a new services, Darty Max, to leverage these strengths in a new area, in a new service. So the concept of one move, it means that you do either you develop a new territory, a new development, or you work on a weakness so that it becomes a strength. But you cannot do the same at the same time, the two things. That's our belief. Second point, second keyword is the fact to get aid, to have some helps and some tools to help us to perform this transformation. One tool one very simple tool we use, and the one I prefer, is the 4C tool. So the 4C, what does it mean? It means that we have a systematic assessment of 4 elements. First one is for each initiative, for each project, we have such an assessment of the cost and revenues impact, obviously. What does it cost? What type of revenues can I get from such a development? That's the first point, the obvious one. The second one is to understand how are we going to, what impact in terms of customer experience? Is this initiative going to increase the NPS or decrease the NPS? Third point is to have an assessment of the carbon impact. That's the key. And the fourth point is to understand the impact of this in terms of employee satisfaction, staff satisfaction. And we have developed this 4C approach to force us to assess for every initiative or project the 4 elements. So that's very powerful, simple and powerful. And it leads also to the idea that the most interesting initiatives are the ones that have a positive impact on the 4 elements. To develop ideas that for example, reduce costs, increase customer experience, reduce the carbon impact, and to increase and that increases the employee satisfaction. And let's be honest, that's the holy grail when you find such initiatives and projects. But that's really the objective, is to find initiatives that click or that on which you can tick all the 4 boxes at the same time. Another example of tools and methods we have used is the fact to use consumers to let's say to help us to put in motion our suppliers, or to use our suppliers to give information and insights to consumers, is to find ways to have an ecosystem with our customers and our suppliers, allowing us to move forward. For example, I mentioned earlier the information we gave and we give to our customers in terms of product sustainability and product lifetime, and obviously the fact to give information to consumers around that, and to get benchmarks and comparison between the brands and the suppliers, it obviously have a huge impact on the suppliers, because they all want to be in the top 3 brands and probably the top 1. So the fact to give information to the consumers has impact on the supply side, and that's very interesting and very powerful. The third key word I would like to explain is the fact to be action driven. At one point in the world, we experienced those days with this permanent crisis and so on and so forth. We have to favor every time, in our views at least, the action versus the idea. We have to be action driven, and we have, at least that's what we do, is to define the speed as an objective. It means I mean by that to say that it's important to have a momentum, to have a pace, because when you do things in a right momentum, and I mean by that to be quick by doing things, to be action driven, we experience that it's often less expensive, so the costs are lower, and the quality is often higher. Speed is not the opposite of quality. In our views, it's the opposite. So momentum, speed are keywords at Fnac Darty today. That's the whole idea. And then there are consequences. Consequences on the business model, consequences in terms of operating models. Just to give you, for instance, regarding the supply chain, the fact to develop, I would say, a circular vision of the business with products that are bought back to the customers and then resell as a second life products. You have to develop your reverse supply chain. It happens we obviously have a reverse supply chain in operations for a long time, but you have to strengthen it massively because the volumes are higher and because the efficiency has to be increased. So we developed a lot of projects around the strengthening of the reverse supply chain at Fnac Darty. Second example of the consequences of this transformation is to be focused on, I would say, operational excellence applied to the products themselves and to goods. What do I mean by that? When you, I would say, keep in mind that 90% of our impact, of our carbon impact, is the products. So when we buy products, they arrive in our warehouses. At one point, it may happen that the products are damaged. And each time it happens, each time we have an impact or products that became impossible to sell, it's 90% of the impact, but it's not even used by a customer. So from an environmental perspective, it's a nightmare, if you want. It's the worst thing that could happen. So that's why we have developed a huge project internally to reduce massively the number or the percentage of damaged products, and to find ways to have, I would say, let's say, to develop a concept around the care of the products, of the goods, so that the figure, the proportion of damaged goods is almost reduced to nothing. The third example of operational impact in terms of supply chain is the evolution of the last mile activity. When you give to customers a way to compare the home delivery solutions, such as the information I just I presented earlier, to have the carbon impact, it has an impact, obviously, on the choice by the customer. So it means that your home delivery solutions are, the mix in terms of solution is evolving. For example, we see a huge development of the click and collect solution, chosen by our customers every year more frequently than the year before, and that's huge, because and one of the reason why they choose click and collect solution is that most of the time it's more efficient in terms of carbon impact to collect the product in the stores. So that's why we have to adapt to this reality, to alter and to change our supply chain logistics to be able, and transportation schemes to be able to cope with this increasing number of customers coming to our stores. And obviously, we have the development of the sustainable logistics and transportation operation. That's what I guess we all do in terms of development of sustainable warehouses, reducing I would say the empty space in our parcels, developing I would say transportation methods, trucks, van, and so on and so forth, that are less carbon, that have a carbon impact far less than the previous ones. Developing obviously electric I would say solutions, and so on and so forth. That's something I guess we are all working on, but that's obviously also a key part of the transformation. Sorry. That's it. I think we covered, and I hope it was interesting for you to understand what we have done in terms of transformation, what we have been doing, and also how we have proceeded, how we have done to manage such a transformation. We learn while doing it. That's not something we have prepared before starting those moves, but that's something we are quite proud of. So that's it. Thank you for being here, and I hope it was interesting for you. Thank you.